Yeah? Okay, awesome. All right, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well on this Tuesday morning. It is January the 24th. We are at the last week of this term, term 1B. We have made it. This is done. So we have class today, and then we have class again on Thursday, and then this term is all done. Then next week we have our little min week here at WASO, which means that we don't have any classes, but teachers will still be in the office working. You can still get in touch with myself or any of your other teachers that you may have here at WASO. And then the following week we'll just start off term 2A, where I will be starting PLAR history and geography all over again from the very top, where we'll start looking at history, once again from the early 1900s, looking at Canadian history. That's in 2 weeks' time. You can get a hold of me once again at any point, anytime, by simply giving me a phone call during my office hours. Simply call the Wausau office here in Silico or stop by, ask for Jonathan, or my extension is 2221. Email, again, jho@nnec.on.ca. And on Facebook, if you have any questions, do that way as well. So Jeho Wasa. So again, you can get a hold of me at any point, any time, interact, ask questions, and so forth and so forth. If you want to participate live here in class right now, again, just call the Wasa Studio, either at your learning center if it's open, or you can call in at home as well and listen through that way. Or you can always log on to Smart Bridget at home or at your learning center. That way you can see what I'm seeing as well. Again, all the review materials are posted on my Facebook page, under my YouTube channel, and you can always go back and check it out on the archive page as well. So again, all that right there. So in terms of community travel and community visits, again, there's no further updates. I know I was supposed to be going to Mish, supposed to go into Big Trout, but things happen here and there. So again, no further updates on that yet. Hopefully we can squeeze that in next week during our min week when there's no classes and hopefully everything is settled down and the weather cooperates. If that happens, again, I will post it on my Facebook page. I'll send out an email to all the DCs to remind the students. And I'll remind students if we're live in class as well if that happens next week. So again, stay tuned for that. Hopefully it all works out as well. So today, over the next 60 minutes, we will discuss the following: latitude and longitude. Yes, we're wrapping up lesson number 5. This is our last topic that we need to discuss. You have one more assignment, assignment 16, which we'll go over at the end as well. And then next class on Thursday, we'll just wrap up everything, perhaps do a bit of review, give the class a bit of time to work on any outstanding work that you haven't finished. So again, we'll deal with that next class. So we're almost done. So hang in there. We have one more topic left to talk about. So we'll start on page 72 in your textbook. Again, lesson number 5, geography, the last topic, latitude and longitude. So let's get to our learning goals for today and some of our success criteria. Again, I didn't type this out, but I'm going to write it out. So again, our learning goal is the direction we're heading for today, and we are looking at obviously latitude and longitude. We will define both terms, and then hopefully by the end of today's class, we'll be able to locate latitude and longitude lines on a map. We will be able to pin down specific location of a particular area, and we'll also be able to write latitude and longitude as well. And hopefully, near the end of today's class, when we go over assignment 16, I will provide some class with some strategies in terms of how to do multiple choice or multiple choice questions. Okay, so assignment 16 is a bit different. It has a bit of multiple choice questions and also has some fill in the blank. Again, just different styles of assessment. We're just changing things up a little bit, but that is our goal for today. This is the direction we're heading, and this is our success criteria as well. So again, hopefully by the end of today's class, you'll have a good understanding of what latitude and longitudes are, and be able to find and use different strategies for multiple choice questions and how to use fill in the blank as well. Alright, let's start with a little bit of introduction. So how do you find an exact location on a place, on a map? How do you find an exact location? So as we know, our Earth is massive and it's big. We have many continents, countries, bodies of water. It's just absolutely massive. But how do we locate a particular or a specific location on Earth? What if you wanted to tell a friend the exact location of, for example, Silicon, Ontario, or the name of your community? It is very hard to describe. Sure, we know Silicon is located in Ontario, northwestern Ontario, but where exactly? Okay, it's so hard to pin down or tell anyone where is Silicon. Sure, we are north, we are west of Thunder Bay and east of Winnipeg, but where exactly are we? Okay, where exactly are we? So we need a system, and a system that is similar and related to math. So I'm going to integrate some math into today's lesson. We are going to use a grid system with coordinates. Okay, a math system or grid system with different coordinates. So on my screen, as you can see, a grid is pretty much like a chart paper. It has little boxes, lines up and down, horizontally and vertically. But a grid with coordinates, it has a y-axis and an x-axis. Okay, this will help us to pin down exactly the location on a map. So we're almost like plotting, almost like graphing, in a sense. So our Earth, it's not flat. Again, some of us may think it's flat, but it's not. It's not round. It is round because it's a sphere, but again, it's not flat as well. So again, our globe is in the shape of a sphere. Again, I wish I could show the class what a sphere looks like, but just imagine what a sphere looks like, and what our Earth and planet looks like. Okay, it is not flat, but if we were to take our globe, take our planet, and flatten it out, it will look something like this. It still contains all of our continents and bodies of water, but this is what our globe will look like if we flatten it out onto our surface. And then we'll just slap on a grid on it, and it'll look something like this as well. Note that again, it has lines, again, almost like chart paper, vertical lines, horizontal lines. It has axis on it, numbers on it, so that we can locate exactly which location is where, based on its direction, based on its units, based on its degrees as well. So before we look at latitude and longitude, we need to know our directions. Okay, we need to know our direction. Where is north, east, south, west? Okay, we need to know our sets of directions. So again, if you have like a little compass or just have other apps on your phone, it will help as well. But again, we have north, east, south, and west. There are different acronyms to help us remember, such as never eat shredded wheats. But we're just looking at north, east, south, west. North pointing upwards, south pointing down, left is west, right is east. Okay, so again, we need to know our sense of directions again, but we're mainly focusing on north and south lines and east and west lines in those main directions. Okay, so again, you'll hear me say horizontal and vertical a lot throughout today's class. Some key terms that we're going to define, some starting blocks to help us have a better understanding of what latitude and longitudes are. We're going to start with looking at the equator and the prime meridian. Okay, the equator and the prime meridian. Again, just two fancy terms that we're going to just define and look at. So the equator is an imaginary line. Again, visualize the imaginary line that goes across the Earth horizontally. Okay, horizontally right across the middle of the Earth. So in this case, this red line, as you can see, is called the equator. What's unique about the equator is that as we move closer to the equator, it is much warmer in terms of its climate and its weather as the sun reaches that area first. Again, this is just the middle. Again, imaginary line across the middle of the Earth in a horizontal form known as the equator. Whereas the prime meridian is simply just the opposite, where it's just the imaginary line that goes up and down the Earth in the opposite direction. This is vertical, okay, in a vertical manner. So again, this line right here that goes up and down the prime meridian, the Earth, is known as the prime meridian. It simply just divides the Earth in half. It starts pretty much at the North Pole and it goes all the way down towards the South Pole. Okay, so basically the equator and the prime meridian are our axis. We're looking at math, whereas the equator is our x-axis. And the prime meridian is a y-axis. So again, if you want to integrate some math concept that's relatable, here it is. So in other words, think as the equator as the x-axis and the prime meridian as the y-axis. Now we're going to look at defining a latitude and a longitude, the main event, the meat of today's class lesson, defining latitude and longitude. So latitude are simply lines that runs east and west on our map, on our globe. They are parallel lines. They are the same distance apart. They are used to measure how far we are north or south of the equator. Okay. They are parallel lines. Okay. So think of lat for flat. Okay, lat for flat, any flat line. So again, think of a ladder and how it has steps on it. This could be a resemblance of latitude. Okay, so think of any flat lines you see on a map, on a globe. They are called latitude, and they are used to measure how far we are either north or south from the equator. Okay, start from the equator and move either upwards or downwards. These are latitude lines. Okay, steps on a ladder. Steps on a ladder. Okay, a lat for flats. They go east and west. They are the same distance apart as they are parallel lines. Okay, you'll see that word parallel lines or parallel come up in math once again. So again, we're trying to integrate a bit of math in our classes as well. So again, on my screen, more illustrations, more visuals of latitude. Again, any flat lines. So you see any flat lines on a screen, on a map, on a globe, such as this one, or perhaps this one, they are latitude lines. Okay, so again, they're the same distance apart. They're just flat lines. Again, they're used to measure how far you are either north or south from the equator. As you can see on the screen, you also see numbers in degrees as well. So as we go upwards, we are going north, and the value increases. So the equator is 0. It can go up in terms of intervals of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up into 90. Okay. Whereas the opposite, if we go below the equator, which is south, again, we're starting to go from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way towards 90. That's how we measure how far we are. So if I say we're at 80 degrees north, we know that we're pretty far up there as we're close to 90 degrees north. Okay, 90 degrees north is pretty much the North Pole, is at the very top of our globe, our Earth, whereas 90 degrees south is at the very bottom. Okay, the South Pole, Antarctica at the very, very bottom. So hopefully that helps illustrates how we use latitude lines, how we measure latitude lines as well. Sure, you can use negative as well as we go below, but I like to use directions as well because we know which directions we are heading, either north or south. So keep that in mind. Latitude lines has to be north or south, not east or west. Okay, just keep that in mind as well. So again, any flat line, okay, flat lines, okay. So hopefully it's not too confusing as we mix up latitude and longitude. I think everyone usually have a good grasp of what they mean, what they are, but they just kind of sometimes flip-flop to one or the other. Okay, so again, I'm trying to give examples that will help us to decipher which is which. Longitude. So longitude are not the same distance apart. They are vertical lines in a sense. And they're used to measure how far we are east or west of the prime meridian. They start at the poles, they meet at the poles, North Pole and South Pole. So again, visualize a ladder again. Think of it as the legs of the ladder. Not exactly straight, but It's the same point. So again, longitude, they are not the same distance apart. They meet at the poles, and they are used to measure how far we are east or west, almost like the opposite. So again, look for any non-flat lines. Look for any vertical lines. Okay. So again, right here in red is the prime meridian. Again, note that the prime meridian is also 0 degrees. Okay, it's our starting point, it's the starting block. Again, as we move further east, okay, the value increases as well, and it goes all the way towards 90 degrees. Okay, so again, it could be in 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way to 90, or we can count by 20s, 20, 40, 60, 80, and towards 90. But again, this is east. Okay, we're going east. Whereas if we move left of the prime meridian, we're going west. Again, using our knowledge of directions. And same thing. Okay, no positive or negative, it's just used in degrees. Again, it just counts the same thing all the way towards 90. Or 180, I should say. Okay, it goes all the way towards 180. So again, same thing, any vertical line that goes all the way across. Okay. Again, just a bit of review, a bit of, since we just learned about latitude and longitude. Again, as you can see, any flat line across the middle of the Earth, of the sphere, is called the equator. As we move upwards, we're moving north, and it goes all the way up towards 90 degrees. If we go below the equator, we're going south. Again, any flat lines. Whereas the prime meridian longitude, it goes east or west. Okay. Again, note how they start at the North Pole, and it goes all the way down towards the South Pole. Hence why they are not the same distance apart. They just start and meet at the poles. Again, similar but different. They have different characteristics, different purpose. Again, all help us to pin down the exact location on the map on the globe. So let's put it all together now. So as you see on my screen, we have a map of the globe with different continents as well. And you can see latitude and longitude line that goes across up and down, left and right of the globe. So hopefully that little help illustrates latitude and longitude. Again, note the numbers on the side. Again, these are very, very important as we use and write latitude and longitude as well. So now we have a good understanding of what latitude and longitudes are. We need to be able to write latitude and longitude. How do we write it? What do we do? How do we write it so that we understand which is which? Hence why if we read units and degrees of latitude and longitude, we know where it is. We can find it on a map. So when writing latitude and longitude, it goes in this order. It goes latitude first, followed by longitude. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, it cannot be the opposite. If you flip-flop it, write the opposite, such as longitude first, followed by latitude, you're technically incorrect because this is just the way we write it. So again, proper form is important to emphasize here. We start off with the number in degrees. So it has to be either north or south, followed by east or west. It cannot be the opposite, east and west, followed by north or south. It has to be in this order. Okay, so say the number in degrees is direction. Again, hint, hint. It has to be north or south, followed by east or west. Okay, so it could be northeast, northwest, or southeast or southwest. Okay, it has to be in that order. It cannot be the opposite. So that's how we write it. Okay, that's how we write it. So again, just proper form that we need to remember. Okay, that's what I need to remember. So let's do a bit of example right now in terms of locating, finding places or points on a map using latitude and longitude lines and coordinates. And we're going to practice right now together in terms of how we write it. Okay. So this one says, using this diagram, note how longitude and latitude lines determine location on a map. Remember, okay, remember class, latitude is always written first, signifying north or south location, followed by longitude, which indicates east or west location. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, keep that in mind. So as you can see on my screen, we have a map of the globe. It has latitude and longitude lines. It has the equator. It has the prime meridian. But we need to pin down which point is which. There is the letter X, Y, and Z on my screen. We're going to pick one. Can anyone pick a letter, either X, Y, and Z? Bertha, can you pick one a letter for us? Y. Okay, so we're going to find the location of Y on our screen. So as you know, we need to look at latitude first, followed by longitude. Thank you so much, Bertha, for picking the letter Y. Again, if anyone else want to pick a letter, we can do that next as well. So Y. Where is Y on our screen? Can anyone point to it? Or tell me where it is? Oh, here it is. Here's Y. Excellent. Good stuff. So we need to look at our lines, our coordinates, our direction, and we need to write it out. So who can tell me which direction or which lines out of latitude, longitude do we need to write first? Are there any guesses? Think about it. I emphasize it. It's in your textbook. It's on a screen. Yes, latitude is written first. Excellent. Good. Latitude. So we need to look at any flat lines, right, class? Okay, remember, right? Lat for flats. Okay, hint, hint. So we need to look at any flat lines. Okay, so just look at just the flat lines. Can anyone tell me which flat line goes across the letter Y? Hint here is that the letter Y is located below the equator, which means it has to be south. Okay, so look below, look south in that direction. And if you have said south, 30 degrees south, you are correct. So you can say Y is 30 degrees which direction? South. Good. South because it's below the equator. Excellent. Again, remember, it has to be either north or south because when dealing with latitude lines. So boom, that's half of it. It's done. Now we need to looking at longitude lines. Okay, longitude lines. So look at any vertical lines that goes up and down, lines that start at the North Pole and meet at the South Pole or vice versa. And look at which line goes directly through the letter Y. Again, hint here is that look at the prime meridian. Note that the letter Y is right of the prime meridian, which means it has to be which direction? Not west, but east. Okay, not west, but east. It has to be east. So which line goes directly through the letter Y? And again, if you had guessed 30 degrees east, you are correct. Okay, and that's simply much how we write latitude and longitude units. Okay, we have our units, we have our direction, which is what exactly I'm looking for. Okay, if you just write 30 and 30, it doesn't really tell me much because it could be 30 any direction. Okay, so again, it's very important that we remember to include our direction as well. Good. Are there any questions with that? Let's look at another example. Let's look at another example. We still have the letter X and we still have the letter Z. Okay. Bertha, can you pick another letter for us, either X or Z on the screen? Which one would you like? X? Alright. Okay, class. So we're going to look at the example X and we'll write that example in terms of random latitude and longitude once again. So again, where is X on our screen? It is in between Africa and Asia, for example. So it's right here. This is what we're looking at. This is X. So again, as a reminder, we need to look at latitude first. Okay, latitude first. So again, always look at flat lines. So which flat line goes through the letter X? Again, note the location where it at. Okay, use your process of elimination in terms of which hemisphere or which direction is located. It is north, and it's this line right here, and it is 30 degrees north. Good. So now we need to look at longitude lines. Again, any horizontal lines, sorry, vertical lines that goes through it. Oh, look at that. It goes through X and Y, so we know that it has to be 30 degrees east. Okay. Again, you can always go back and check to make sure you did it right. Again, you have our degrees, our direction, north or south, followed by east or west. Okay. Most time it's not this easy as not all lines go directly through the location as we want. Sometimes we have to estimate, okay, using the numbers on the side and using the scale as well. So sometimes it could be between 60 degrees west or 30 degrees west, 60 west, 30 west. So no, it could be, 40 and 50, okay, as we approach, give or take. Okay, so again, using our number scale, as we move further away, we just know sometimes we have to estimate. It's not an exact location as well. So again, these are fairly simple examples that we did together in class. Hopefully that demonstrates that and illustrates that. But again, note that not all location has exact numbers. It could be 37.6 degrees north or 32.66 east. Okay, it could be a variety of numbers as well. Just keep that in mind as well. But again, I try to use examples that use whole number, round numbers that helps us with this exercise. So that's pretty much today's class, looking at latitude and longitude. So let's get to your last assignment for this course, PLAR History and Geography. Just a reminder, class and students, this is PLAR, which means that we're all independent learners, mature students, and we don't necessarily have a deadline. You don't have to reapply for next term if you're not done. That's simply just apply for IL courses. So just keep that in mind. If you're not done any of your PLAR courses, either my course, History, Geography, English, Math, or Science, just continue where you left off. Okay, just continue where you left off. You don't have to resubmit anything. If you're unsure, talk to me, talk to your teacher. Well, talk to me for my course at least, and talk to your teacher for any of the other PLAR courses where you need to continue where you left off or how you're progressing as well. But again, you don't need to resubmit anything. If you're unsure if you did this assignment already or if you need to redo it, give me a shout. I'll look at my marks, look at my sheets, and I'll let you know where you're at, what you need to finish, and so forth. Okay, so again, I know we're all at different stages in terms of where we're at in assignments. Some of us are done, some of us only need history, some of us only need geography. Just continue where you left off. Reminded there is a final test for each subject once you're all done as well. Again, just reminded that your test is the one that counts the most. That's the mark that actually counts. So again, all these assignments are just helps you in terms of your knowledge, understanding, helps you become a critical thinker, so that you're ready when your test comes. You're ready and won't be any problems, any difficulties. So let's look at assignment 16 out of 13 marks. You don't need to write any sentences for this one. It's a bit different. It's multiple choice and fill in the blank. Some of us may have never done fill in the blank before, which is okay. Some of us love multiple choice because it's pretty straightforward for some. But again, we'll get the class some strategies right now in terms of how to complete multiple choice and fill in the blank. However, you need this map, okay, which is in your workbook as well and in your textbook. Okay, you need to refer to this map, this picture when completing your last assignment. Okay, so again, we need to use reference to this. So let's look at assignment 16 and let's look at the first question. The question number 1 asked, lines of latitude on a globe shows what? A, the location of places. B, distance east or west of the prime meridian. Or C, distance north or south of the equator. Again, we have 3 options here, not 4, not 5. So don't pick D or E or F, okay? It has to be either A, B, or C. Simply just put the letter in the box or circle your answer or indicate which letter best correspond with the statement, okay? Can't pick 2, can't pick all of them. There's no all of the above. Just pick one letter. You pick more than one letter, I'll mark it incorrect as I don't know which one you are picking. So just pick one letter, make it clear, put it in a box so that I know. So latitude lines on a globe shows what? So we know from our knowledge that what we just learned, latitudes are flat lines. But what is its purpose? Sure, it could be A, the location of places, but not necessarily, okay? Is there another answer that best suits the purpose of latitude lines? Okay, what if I drew the equator, okay, in red? Okay, pretend the red is the equator and the rest of the green lines are latitude lines. So what is it's doing? Okay, note the direction as we're going further upwards and down. Okay, does that help? So we're not necessarily looking at the prime meridian, so we can cross out the letter B. And we know that it doesn't necessarily locate location on places, but lines of latitude has to be what? Has to be C. It shows a distance either north or south of the equator. Okay, note how we move it upwards and downwards, north or south of the equator, so it has to be the letter C. So the strategy we use just right there is, in a way, the process of elimination. We crossed out what doesn't make sense, what doesn't fit, and we use our knowledge and our thinking to use what's left to figure out the answer. Okay. So let's look at number 2. Lines of longitude on a globe shows what? Again, A, the location of places, B, the distance east or west of the prime meridian, or C, distance north or south of the equator. What we know from the previous question, it cannot be C. We know that latitude does not show distance of the equator. It doesn't necessarily show the location of places. So it has to be what? What's left? It has to be B. Again, if you're still not sure, still don't believe, well, again, the prime meridian, lines, it goes like this. Okay, which direction are we heading? Okay, which lines? Okay, it could be west or east. Okay. Question number 3, again, let's use that process of elimination. Try to cross out what fits and what doesn't fit. Okay, lines of latitude are also called parallel lines because what? A, they never meet. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. Let's keep that. Parallel lines meet at the North Pole. That doesn't sound correct. And C, meet at the prime meridian. That doesn't sound correct as well. So what are parallel lines? We know that parallel lines are lines that have the same distance apart. They could be diagonal. They could be horizontal. They could be vertical, but they are all the same distance apart. Are they touching? No. They always start at the North Pole? No. They always meet at the prime meridian? No as well. So again, it has to be the letter A. They never meet, so they never touch. Okay? They're just the same distance apart, they just never touch. So it has to be A. It has to be A. Question number 4, the total measure in degrees around the Earth is what? So again, think of a sphere all the way around it. It's in watts. It has to be, again, let's do some math. It needs to be 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. So again, that equals what? 360. Plus we know that each point, as we go around, It has to be 360. 360 equals a circle, so it has to be the letter C. We know that 90 degrees, again, this is 90 degrees. 180 is in a straight line. But if we double that, we get 360. And number 5, the expression 60 degrees west indicates what? 60 degrees indicates what? So again, using our knowledge, we know that latitude has to be north or south, and longitude has to be east or west. And the question asks for west. We know it's not the prime meridian. The prime meridian starts at 0, so that's out of the equation. We know that latitude are north or south. And longitudes are east or west. In this case, it asks for west, so it has to be the letter B. So that's the first page in terms of looking at multiple choice questions dealing with latitude and longitude. The next page looks at fill in the blank. Okay, fill in the blank. Again, usually in terms of filling the blank, you will have some answers at the top where you pick and choose some of that phrase and then we just cross it out and fill it in. But this is a bit different as we need to use the map that I indicated before on this page to help us answer these questions. So again, note that on this map it has different locations, A, B, C, and D. It has latitude and longitude lines. Again, some questions will ask you which location is which. So again, for example, number 6, the lines that goes to Australia is labeled what? Okay, we read the statement and we try to answer it. The line that goes to Australia is labeled what? Well, the line of latitude goes to Australia is what? So go back and look at it. Where's Australia? Here it is. Which line of latitude goes through it? Which flat line goes through it? It has to be this line, which is 30 degrees south. So you will write in the blank 30 degrees south. Okay. There are other questions too that ask you, find location, which letter is it? Okay, using degrees. But again, using our knowledge of filling the blank and latitude and longitude, you are to fill in the blank. So again, number 7, for example, the expression 90 degrees north is the location of what? Okay. So again, looking at a map, where is 90 degrees north? We know that's at the very top. So what is it? You can say the top of the globe, the North Pole, something on the lines of that will give you full marks. So again, try the rest on your own class. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. But again, make sure you refer back to that map when answering this page. Okay. So give it a shot, try it. We'll see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. But this is your last assignment. Okay. After this is we're done geography. Okay, you'll get a little mark sheet tally up remarks, let you know how you did. I'll give you comments in terms of your feedback, what you did well, what you can improve on, what you should continue. Also assess your learning skills and your work habits as well. Okay, awesome. So I think we'll stop it there for today. We're almost at the end of today's class. Thanks so much for tuning in, for looking at latitude and longitude. This has been PLAR History and Geography with myself, Jonathan, your teacher. Next class on Thursday, we might do a bit of review. We'll wrap things up. We'll see how things go. Give some class time to work on any outstanding work. If you have any questions, bring them to class live, ask them, and I'll hopefully have the answer for you. And we'll go from there. But thanks so much, and I'll see everyone back here live on Thursday. Having yourself a great day. Thank you.